software metering. One of the features of SMS 2003 that a lot of managers would see a lot of value in is software metering. Software metering is great because it lets you monitor and collect information about software. Things like how often users are using the software, for how long they use it, how many occurrences of the software are in use, and so on. So the first thing we'll need to do is to configure the client agent for software metering. So over here on the left hand side we'll expand our site database, our site hierarchy, the site, and finally the site settings, and then we'll click on client agents. Now on the right hand side of our console we're concerned with the bottom option here, software metering client agents. We'll right click on that and select properties. Now the only option we have here is to enable software metering on our client, so we'll check this box and then we'll click on the Schedule tab. Okay, here we can see that the data that relates to our software will be collected every 7 days, and this data will be downloaded also every 7 days. Now in a production environment these defaults are probably fine, but for my purposes in this lab I'm going to change these so we can get a little bit of data back. So I'll click on the top schedule button here and I'm going to change this to a lower value. Now by the way, 15-minute intervals is the lowest amount of time you can actually set here. So if I just actually set this to say 7 minutes and click on OK, you can see here my change has automatically been set back to the minimum time of 15 minutes anyway. So I'll change my download time. I'll just change it to 7 minutes again. And also we can see that's changed back to 15 minutes, and that's fine. So we'll click on OK. Alright, well our client has now been configured, so the next step is to configure a software metering rule. So we'll come down here and we'll click on software metering rules. And you'll see that here in the right hand side we don't have any rules defined, so we'll need to right click on software metering rules and create a new software metering rule. And the first thing we'll need to do is give our new rule a name. So in this exercise we'll simply use the Notepad application, so I'll simply enter in the name of Notepad. And we can click on the Browse button and we'll locate the Notepad application, which is found in our Windows directory. And there it is, so we'll select Open. And as you can see, that's filled in the majority of this window here. Now we can add in any comments if we like, and in a production environment, I always recommend writing good comments so you can easily identify what this rule is for later on. Now finally, we can also set the site to which this rule will apply, and apply this rule to both the site specified here in the drop-down box as well as any child sites. Now one little gotcha here is that currently, as this rule stands, we are going to run into a problem. The version of Notepad that you see here under the version field is 5.2, and that's the current version of Notepad that's supplied with Windows 2003. Older Windows operating systems also run Notepad, of course, but their versions will differ from this. So if you want to cover all versions of Notepad, you could simply change this to an asterisk. Or if it's only the Windows XP version of Notepad and Windows 2003, then what I'd suggest is changing this to a 5-point asterisk, and that'll also work. Just be sure that when you are metering software on clients that may be running different versions, to change this version field here to reflect all the versions that you want to meter. Alright, so if everything is okay, we just need to click on OK, and now this policy will be pushed to the management points where the clients can now use it. Okay, now let's go and check with one of our clients to see that it has in fact received our new policy. So what I'll do is I'll go and open up the log files on my remote XP client. So I'm just going to click on Start, Run, and then we'll navigate to XP Client Admin $System32 CCM Logs directory, and I'll click on OK. And the file that we're looking for is this file called mtrmanager.log. So we'll open that file up. Alright, and here we can see that our new rule was successfully received by our client. So let's switch over to our XP client now and let's test our new rule. Okay, well here I am on my XP machine, so to make my testing a little easier, I'm just going to click on Start, All Programs, Accessories, and I'll grab my Notepad application. I'm just going to dump it here in my quick launch so it's a little easier to get to. Alright, Because we've now set up and deployed a software metering rule for Notepad, we want to see how the user on this machine uses the Notepad application. So I'm just going to click on our Notepad application here a dozen or so times, and hopefully we'll be able to see some activity back in our SMS console. Alright, so I've opened up a few Notepad sessions here, so let's force our client to update SMS to speed up the process. So I'm going to click on Start and we'll launch the control panel, and then we'll fire up the Systems Management applet here. Now a couple of quick things to point out. On the Components tab, we should now be able to see our SMS software metering agent now set to Enabled. And on the Actions menu, we now have a software metering usage report cycle action. So we'll select this and then we'll click on the Initiate Action button. And this will force our data to be sent to the SMS server. Now of course, this will happen automatically anyway as part of our schedule. I just want it to happen right now. Okay, I'm back on my SMS server, and because I still have Windows Explorer open here connected to my XP machine, we've got to log down here this swmtr report gen.log. And now if we open up this, we can see here that our software metering now has successfully generated reports, which we can look at using the reporting point server. And we'll see a lot more about the reporting point server and queries in a later video. Okay, in this video, we've looked at software metering. I encourage you to think of how this could be applied to your applications in your company. Of course, as time goes on in your company and systems and software are being upgraded, you'll be asking yourself, do we really need this application and that application? Is anyone even using them anymore? Of course, the users are going to say, oh no, I use that all the time. You can't get rid of that. Now, by metering this software, you'll be able to tell exactly what software is being used, how often it's being used, and by whom. So no more settling for people simply saying they use the software or they don't. You'll know exactly what's going on and be able to produce the proof. So why pay out good money licensing software that no one's using?